Saudade quem não tem, quem já não se perdeu no que aconteceu, pra nunca mais voltar de lá. Me deixa saiba, meu amor, cada tem seu tempo. Uma coisa assim que vem de dentro do olhar. Vou aceitar seu tempo passa mais devagar. Você também chorou, só que já se esqueceu. Mas eu estou aqui pra te lembrar que você foi capaz de se entregar, de se deixar levar por momento bom. Hello, hello, good evening everyone. Thank you for joining us for one more Vasa Social Hour. This is Jake, kind of in and out of the shot. All right, let's do Maybe I'm a Fool. Is awake. I find every beat losing pace within my chest. Making sense is getting harder. Kiss me deep and pull me underwater. Every little death with you will make me feel alive. Make me feel alive. Consumed by the stars, I'm sentenced to cycles of calling to the night. I dream of you. Ooh, maybe I'm a fool to love you like I do. Making sense is getting harder. Kiss me deep and pull me underwater. Every little death with you will make me feel alive. Make me feel alive. Cool. That was Maybe I'm a Fool. That's a song that we wrote together, and it's on my record Chasing Storms and Stars. Love playing that song. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to this virtual hang. I'm very excited to have our guest tonight, a very dear friend of mine from many years ago, incredibly talented Brazilian singer, performing artist, creative artist. She's lived in several countries, traveled the world, and it's really cool that we're gonna get to share some music, some thoughts, and I'm excited for you guys to meet her. Her name is Silvia Machete, and let me see if she's in the house so she can join us here. Silvia, chamando.
Hello.
Hello.
You guys are so adorable.
Aw.
It's ridiculous. Amazing. So good to so beautiful.
Oh,
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good to see you. I'll let you guys have at it.
All right, Jake's gonna grab.
Nice to see you, Jake. Nice. Yeah, I got my glass of wine
I
here.
got my glass of wine too. I
So
thought it was
let's-
very Rhonda.
Yes.
Cheers.
Rhonda drinks wine. Cheers. I just have to make this camera a little bit like this.
Here
I think
you
it's
go.
better. So
I like
what's
your
up?
vibrant hammock in the back.
Yes, there's a hammock. I I live in Sao Paulo, but this week, a friend of ours invited us to the beach house he has near Sao Paulo, which is a blessing. So we came, and I see Guilherme Monteiro is on the live.
Guilherme. Oh, he says he thought Rhonda drank gin.
Oh yeah, I know, but well, no, it's only Wednesday. Okay. From Thursday on, gin, and then on Saturday nights we drink whiskey.
I'm a whiskey kind of girl too. I've been into making these cocktails, and I've been making these fancy whiskey sours, and I feel very professional because I don't go anywhere, so I have to learn how to make my own cocktails now.
Yeah, we gotta. It's time to learn things, right? This
Time
moment.
to learn things, for sure. And you have a beautiful record that was just released last Friday,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Yes.
It's called Rhonda, which
Mm-hmm.
it's the character that this time I'm putting to sing. Like she's a character, she's a singer, and she's very different from the other work that you know.
Mm-hmm.
I put away the hula hoops and the maracas, and the comedy, the physical comedy of my show, and I'm introducing a more dark, more dense character in this album. She's completely in love, and she changes moods between like wanting to be in love and forgetting it all. So
Mm-hmm.
there's this. It's very confessional, and Rhonda is much more similar to me than maybe my other character on stage. Like
That's what I wanted to touch on a little bit. I've been listening to the record these last few days, and it's so lovely, and it's very different, as you were saying, from your previous records and the previous personas that you've kind of incorporated throughout your career. And even with the sound, it's so dreamy. And you mentioned it's darker, it's more dense, it's very contemplative, and and also to me, it just seemed very personal. It just came across as very honest. So I was wondering, like, how did this whole thing begin about creating this character? Because for the people that are joining us that don't know, I want to just kind of like explain that, you've always been so, I mean, you can touch on this, but you've traveled, you lived in Europe for a bit, you lived in New York for almost 10 years,
many
right?
years. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you did like street performances, and you always incorporated like elements of theater into your music and your shows. And even when you moved back to Brazil and you started releasing your albums, that was kind of like a new thing. Nobody was really doing that at the time, so it was very innovative. And how much of it is, bringing these characters in, and how much of it is you, and how does that sort of come about for you?
Yeah. Well, like since I, came from like the circus and street performing, the energy that I had to put in this my work was always very high energy, um, um, uplifting, kind of very colorful, extravagant, and
Extravaganza was the name of one of your records, right?
yes, extravaganza. It's on Spotify. It's also I love this album, and but it's completely different from Rhonda, completely different, and I think that it's crazy because we work with inspiration, right? We create and and we want to be inspired to write or to create an image on stage, and I work with that a lot. Like, so my other albums, I always started thinking about the show first, you know, like how I'm gonna present this, you know, am I gonna use, what kind of lighting, what kind of props I'm gonna use. And this album, I started with writing the songs, you know, from my heart. It sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's true. It's like that's how I started. I started writing my songs from my heart, you know. And
it's not cheesy. I mean, that's the personal, honest thing
yeah,
that's coming across.
yeah. And I think maybe it was the moment for me to express what I really felt, you know, like to not to really show my feelings. I think I think I became I had the courage to do that, and I used uh, I'm not, you know, I'm Brazilian, and I want to write, and I started writing in English, and I think that was a little bit of a like a shield for me, you know, even though I'm being really honest. I my poetry, my writing came out in English. It just felt like that. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I think it
Was
has to
that
do.
something? Was it something that was it a concept that you had? Like, I'm going to write all these lyrics in English, or do you just felt the inspiration, you started writing, and then next thing you know, you just
Yeah,
have all these lyrics in English?
yeah, it was
So it's
like that.
almost like Rhonda found you.
Yes, yes, that's very good. That's very good. Rhonda found me. You know, I feel like she's like a urban gypsy kind of woman, you know, like, and I felt very inspired by moving from Rio, which is it's like a smaller, it's like a beach town. When I moved from Rio to Sao Paulo, which is completely more urban, also that also helped, you know, this big change. You know, I felt like I was in New York again, and
I can relate to that also, just, you know, leaving your sort of comfort zone, because I lived in Rio for so many years, and it does just give you that sort of, oh, everything's fine and life is so great,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you don't feel really challenged or pushed to
it's a
your
bubble.
limits.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. Um, I was too accommodated and comfortable where I was, you know, and um, and I needed that punch, that kick in my ass to to move and to change. And when you change, I think that with changes, inspiration comes all together, you know. So if you want to make a good album, just move towns, you know, just like go somewhere else, and hopefully you'll have the light. You will see the light in the end of the tunnel. But no, but seriously, it was a big deal for me to move from Rio to Sao Paulo. It did me
I
really
can
well,
imagine.
really, really well. Since I didn't, you know,
How long
I
has
could,
it been?
sorry, I had a little delay here.
How long has it been now since you've been in Sao
Oh,
Paulo?
it's been a little bit more than a
Okay.
year and a couple of months. Yeah. And it was a decision made by, like, I had like 4 gigs last year, and I was like, ooh, maybe this is when I should just go, you know. And I just put all my shit in the moving truck, and I rented a place. I asked everybody online, like, if you know of an apartment in São Paulo, and I got a response right away. And so I moved ride to Sao Paulo and started just like as if I had lived there my whole life. It's a good city to be in. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very cultural, very mixed uh, kind of people, many tribes. It's very similar to New York, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Let's not let the people from Sao Paulo know about this, but it's very much like New York. Otherwise, they get too stuck up, you know.
That's true.
They're a little bit. They're not worse than the Cariocas, but they have good food in Sao Paulo. It's
That is
pretty
true. Great restaurants in Sao Paulo.
yeah, it's an amazing cultural place to be. There's a lot of talented people, and I was very lucky to meet the people that recorded on this album, like
Mm-hmm.
Vitor Cabral, the
Mm-hmm.
drummer. Of course, he's friends with Alberto and Guilherme Monteiro, who also
Mm-hmm.
recorded, and Dudinha Lima, the producer of the album, who is
Mm-hmm.
from São Paulo. So right away, you know, and Chicão, a piano player, and I mean, talented people living in São Paulo, and people that are, you know, I'm not known there as I'm known in Rio, you know, uh, which is great also. Like I'm a novelty, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for people and for other artists that I can collaborate with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm being other than this hell that we are living. It's a great life in Sao Paulo. It is.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, we're all living through hell at the moment, so
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully we're not living that
It's
great of a life here right now either. Trust
yeah. I know. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, and we have, you know, the U.S. and Brazil. We have the worst people in command. So,
Yeah, we could not ask
um,
for worse leadership right now in both countries. It's
yeah, it's pretty bad. It's
it
pretty
is.
bad.
It's pretty bad, and that I wanted to touch on this because when I think of you, I automatically go back to so many live performances that I've seen of yours because you're always, like you said, before you would make a record, you would think about the show. And, we've collaborated in shows before. I was looking through those pictures and remembering that show.
Such a great. I was looking how tall you are in the picture
I
and
think I was
how
wearing some very high heels that were probably not comfortable.
I'm like, oh my God, I am so short, and she's a top model, and and I remember it rained, and I remember we had such a good time. It's
Mm-hmm.
such a beautiful theater in Copacabana with
It's like the arena feel.
arena,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
really nice. Yeah, I was remembering that. Like, it felt like it was yesterday.
yeah,
But, and of course, it just makes me sad because we were having this conversation on the phone the other day about just
hmm
how we live for performing live, right? That's the most, of course, being in this, the whole process is incredible for sure. And it's
yeah, yeah,
every step is a part of this process.
yeah, sure,
Writing, picking the songs, collaborating, being in the
yeah,
studio, and each thing has its own magic, but there is nothing that will ever substitute that human connection of just
nothing,
exchanging emotions with the people you're sharing
yeah,
the stage with the people that are
yeah,
watching you. It's just
yeah.
this mutual feeling about just being a part of something that's so incredibly powerful and beautiful. And
Yeah, it's very hard to think that we don't know when we're gonna go back to that. Even though I know we're gonna do that again, it's it breaks my heart. It really
yeah,
does. Like, you
hmm,
know, that's suspended right now,
exactly. Hmm.
and like that's where I most enjoy, and that's where I'm mostly happy. Is when I'm on stage. That's when I can behave badly, you know. That's when I get my connection with with my crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my shows are not, I don't make huge shows with like thousands of people. They're mostly in theaters. There's like 200,
Mm-hmm.
300 people. Sometimes in a festival, lots of people. But, you know, I do an intimate show. And so it's a very deep connection with my public. I love my public. And I feel the love back. So it's just it's I've cried. We all cry. I've been
Yeah.
crying a lot, all because I'm so sensitive with all this situation, and
Mm-hmm.
but it will go back soon. We
Yeah.
will we will start performing on stage, and it's fun. Like in this time now, I'm starting to think how Rhonda is going to behave on stage because you know, I'm not gonna have the maracas and the hula hoops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about other art directions, and maybe I'm gonna start being more of a percussionist in this album and developing other talents
Mm-hmm.
and not as funny. There's a lot of people being, oh no, now you're serious. You're so funny. Please be fun again. I'm like, no, wait. I'm still gonna be fun. Of course, it's
So,
gonna be entertaining.
how did you think of this character? Like, because you started writing the songs, and that's
Yeah,
this whole album came about, was just about writing the
yeah.
lyrics. And then I have two questions, one at a
Mhm,
time. First,
mhm.
you started writing the lyrics, and Alberto Continentino wrote most of the music. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Who
have.
is somebody I'm always talking about because
Yeah,
I also recorded a couple of his songs, and he's just a genius. He's incredibly talented.
yeah. He is. He's one of those guys that we call genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know another guy that is so. I mean, it's amazing. You guys should follow him and see him playing bass. And so yeah, so it was. He has this. I mean, he writes songs for lots of people, and he has a lots of partners. And but I think that because we were doing High Times, the other show before, we got into this intimacy of hearing music together,
Okay.
and talking about music and sharing playlists and you know, and in my ignorance, like as a musician, because I'm a performer and I sing, I'm not a musician, a formed musician. I needed him, and I need musicians to translate what I think musically.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, to answer your question, Rhonda, the name Rhonda came first. I always loved this name, Rhonda. It's just so, it's kind of like a badass name, like it, and then I was looking. There's like the American TV show Rhonda. There's like the fighter, the woman who's a freestyle fighter named Rhonda.
Really?
Yeah, there is. I don't know much about her, but
Mm-hmm.
anyway. And there was a theater group in New Zealand called the Rhonda Movement, and there Rhonda was a name around my life for many years. It's been more than 10 years that she's in my mind. So for me, as if I had to do everything alone, like make all the decisions about how to release an album, and I would just forget about and just like, no, now I'm Rhonda. I'm changing my name. Forget about forget about my past. I just want to be Rhonda now for a while. But that's not how it works, because you have followers, you have
Right.
listeners. That's Machete, and it's like, okay, no, okay, you can't just like change your name. But
So
anyway,
that's how you decided to call the album Rhonda, but
Rhonda.
still have your
Yeah.
name and just I guess we'll see the real Rhonda on the stage soon,
Yeah.
whenever that resumes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. She's developing, and I've been acting. I guess Rhonda is like it's more close to who I am also in a way, you know, like everybody thinks that because I'm so funny and so on stage I'm funny, I'm, you know, like the funny girl, the funny woman with my hula hoops and the maraca, that I'm a, you know, that I'm always happy, and you know, like, no, I have feelings, and I'm very deep, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm very introspective as well, you know. So this was the time that I had a chance to show my more of my side, you know, my who I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's honesty, I guess.
I love some of my favorite tracks. I Love Missing You is one of my favorites. Love it.
It's amazing.
I love it.
Yeah,
So great.
it's a lovely song. It's a
Did you
lovely
guys
song.
record the album live, everyone together?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that was one of my questions because listening, I'm always so curious about the recording process. I just finished doing a record like that too, where we were all playing together,
Yes.
singing at the same time, and there is just I never did anything like that.
It's beautiful. I listened to your
It
album
is.
today. It's
Oh,
so fine.
thank
So
you.
fine. Amazing. Amazing. Lovely. Lovely. Lovely voice. Lovely songs. Lovely band production. Beautiful.
But it's
Yeah.
that thing where it
It,
feels like a band record,
yes,
and
it's a
that's
band.
kind of how I feel about mine. And when I listened to yours, that was the first thing that I thought too. You know, that you guys were just playing all
Yeah.
together, coming up with these ideas together.
Chemistry. Chemistry.
Hmm.
I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah.
The musicians, they have this their talents, and but then when they're put together with people that they've been playing for a while, and they know their own timing and how to play together, there's a magic.
Hmm.
And if you're in a recording studio, and the people involved in recording the drum and how we're going to play the guitar and where I'm going to sing and doing this all together, that's magic.
Hmm.
That's what makes the album so live and so true as well, you know.
Hmm.
And this it's like this production, you know. Dujinha was the guy behind how we were going to record. Dujinha and Tofu, you know, like these two very important people for a making of a album. And we started the process recording in with Emerson Villani, a guitar player from Sao Paulo, and I
Hmm.
recorded at his house, and he was playing all the instruments, and we did 2 tracks before we went to record live. Emerson, he moved away. He moved from Sao Paulo to Italy, and so that's why um, I started. You know, we had to, like, okay, let's change the production. We're gonna have to make a passar a bola. So
Hmm.
Dujinha appeared in the scene, and once we recorded live, everybody, we knew that we were gonna have to move the other songs that had been already recorded towards the same feel
Hmm.
of the rest of the album, which
Hmm.
was totally recorded live. So I mean, those are just like it's like puzzle, you know, like
Yeah.
you just
And there's
fix
just
things and
there's this magic of you can tell when something is done live. Like
yeah,
I think all my favorite records, if I look back at them and analyze them, they were
yeah.
probably all done live.
I I I, that's how I learned. Like when I decided to record an album, I was 30 years old. I was an old woman, but I remember like what I needed to know how was the best way to record an album. Sorry, got hot. And I asked people how was the best way, and and people told me the best way to record an album is when everybody's playing together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I've been doing. Mostly, that's how I've been doing. It has charm, and it has chemistry and magic, and that's the part of the hard work for sure, to have a nice sounding, nice product to share.
Would you sing a little something to us?
Oh fuck, like what? But I have the bass. I have the bass of
The tracks.
the tracks.
Yeah, a base, sim, sim.
A base,
A
sorry.
base. Quiser.
I'll sing a little a piece of one. The only no original song is it's a song, or I can sing Forget to Forget.
O
I'll sing,
que você quiser.
I'll sing Forget to Forget. Yeah. Okay. I have no idea about the sound.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh baby. I'll skate the night, I will run away. It's just a case of love. Stay up late, never sleep, make some plans. I'll make mistakes, accept the facts. I'll toast to that, and it's clean. There's trouble. I got the reasons. I'm all seasons, my spring keeps coming. Don't wanna move. I got no plans with nobody, but you. I forget to forget. I forget to forget. I forget to forget. I'll skip the night, I will run away. I'll skip the night, I will run away. Accept the facts, I'll toast to that, and it's clean. There's trouble. I got the reasons. I'm all seasons, but spring keeps coming back. It's so real. I don't wanna move. I got no plans for one man. You, I forget to forget. I
Que linda.
Thank you. I hope it sounded okay there. You know, technology, we're getting used to this live thing.
Yeah, I mean, as good as we can with Instagram.
Yeah. What can we do? What can we do? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
So I feel like, you know, I was thinking, listening to this and thinking about your path as an artist, Cigana, moving from different cities, different countries, Paris, Rio, Paris, New York, Rio, Sao Paulo, and
yeah.
oh, I wonder how much that, I feel like traveling has always influenced the music that I make and the way that I write and
Yes.
how I see the world. And I when I listened to this record, I picked up some sort of like West Coast,
For
California
sure.
vibes, and
Yes.
I don't know if this is just if I, you know, I'm onto something, or
You're totally onto
okay.
something. Last May, I made a trip to California.
I knew it.
I think it was like, I mean, it was like one of, it was probably the greatest trip I've ever had, and I was so in love, and like the whole the scenery, you know, like the landscape, you know, going to the desert, and you know, oh my God, it was so inspiring. I mean, what else can I say? Um, California, yeah. This album could have been done in California, I guess.
Beautiful.
The thing, it's so crazy, right? Because everybody's saying like, "Oh my God," but this is like, this album sounds like from another. It's not a Brazilian album, you know. Well, it's not. It's true, but it was made by Brazilians, all right. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. And
we know how to do shit. You know, we can sound. We can sound like, you know, we have this knowledge and talent to it's like an actress. It's like how to interpret the music, you know.
I also feel like, and Jake and I actually have this conversation often about just how you, because of, you know, being Brazilian, doing, you know, bringing that background and growing up with, I mean, one of the most incredible, sorry guys, but Brazilian music, and it's just so, so deep. And having that just be basically your pop music, you know, what you're growing up with, it's in your blood.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it
Yes.
just comes so easily, and people go to school here, you know, everywhere in the world, they learn it, which is incredible. And there's so many incredibly talented musicians around the world that play Brazilian music beautifully.
It's the most listened music in the world. Anywhere you go, you enter in a restaurant, you enter in a store. I mean, there's nothing like nothing.
There really isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and people said this to me, like, some, you know, when you talk about, oh, I'm doing an album. Oh yeah, what are you writing? Well, I'm writing my own songs, and they're in English. Oh, so you want to go international? And it's like, no, if I wanted it, first of all, it's not about that. It's not about going nowhere. I mean, of course, yeah, it would be great to be rich and that, be famous, but that's not the point. The point is, like, if I wanted to go international, I would just play, you know, Brazilian songs. I mean, that's the most international music I know.
Exactly.
You know, like, but yeah, so but no, I wanted to misplace myself somewhere else, and engage and create a whole new persona and sound, and be able to sing my personal songs that I partnered with these great musicians like Alberto and Emerson. And the last song is from a very talented musician from Fortaleza. His name is Rafael Torres.
Oh,
The last song.
actually, I had, when I started the stream, I had some music in the background, and that was the track that I had played. Which is very
amazing.
Brazilian. That's like,
Yes,
you're like, oh, by the way, just so you know, this is the last track, and here's a little bossa nova for you.
Yes, yes, it's bossa nova noir, right?
I love it.
Yeah, he wrote the song and the lyrics, and I love the song. A person that I know, a colleague that I know, introduced me to him, and he had the song, and I immediately fell in love. Immediately. I mean, the melody, the lyrics are haunting. I mean, so Rhonda, right?
So Rhonda.
So Rhonda.
I can't wait to meet Rhonda in person.
I wanna give a big hug with no mask.
Right.
Fuck.
So the only cover on the record is a song by Chimaya. So let's talk about that.
Chimaya, the biggest lover, revolutionary, soul man of Brazil. He has an album that's all in English.
Yes.
And that's where this song came from. Alberto was like, you know, this album, let's listen to this album. So we listened to this album, and was like, okay, let's do this album, let's do this song. And we recorded, it was our last song of our first section in the studio, and Guilherme Monteiro, Vitor Cabral, and Alberto. And I can sing it here.
Yes, I was going to ask, can you sing that one for us?
Yes, let's do this. The beginning is amazing. You left me lonely, you left me thinking why you do those things to me. Although I know I need some time to realize, only to settle down, to reach my all those years we lived together. Oh baby, baby, I can guarantee only you and me with no one else around. You just call my name, it will be the same with no one else around. Baby, 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 baby. You left me lonely and you left me thinking why you do those things to me. Although I know I need some time to realize, only to settle down, to reach my love you, all those years, we lived together. Baby, 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 baby. I can guarantee only you and me with no one else around. You just call my name, it will be the same with no one else around. I can guarantee only you and me with no one else around. You just call my name, it will be the same, no one else around.
Yes! Muito bom! Muito bom!
Saúde! There's a curious fact in the improv part that I go, it's late at night and I'm gonna pick up my phone and I'm gonna dial 212-7980. That's my mom's number in New York.
Still?
And still, and I'm like, Mom, okay. And anyway, it's not very clear on in the recording. But I remember showing to my sister and my brother-in-law, and they're like, "That's your mom's number." You know?
She's probably been getting a lot of robot calls, I wonder.
I know. Somebody's gonna get lucky. No, she's not there. She's not there right now. But it's a funny thing. That was a total improv, and that's how it's gonna be.
I love it.
It was, it's one of these things. Magic, felt comfortable, improv, yeah, it's good. It's funny. See, I'm not that all serious.
There's your humor in that song. Even in the dark.
For sure.
There's still a place for a joke. Piada.
Oh, yes. We love that
Maravilhosa.
shit.
Silvia, thank you so much.
Oh my God, it's so
nice.
good, so lovely, amazing.
So
Adorei.
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 Muito bom.
Thank you,
bom.
everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming, for joining us. Cheers.
Ching, ching.
Ching, ching.
Ching.
Go
This was lovely.
Listen to Rhonda on Spotify.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yes, and listen to Alexia and her beautiful, beautiful album. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Saúde.
Saúde. Beijão. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Beijos.
Beijos, beijos.
All right. Silvia maravilhosa. So nice. This is so funny. I'm getting used to these Instagram lives, and you got to be careful because you feel like you're just on FaceTime with your friend and you're like, oh, what am I saying? But all right, thank you guys so much for joining. Let's do another song to send everybody off. Floating away. From out of the stars, our love is easy. Together we breathe. You're my sweetest thrill. Wide awake and I feel like I'm dreaming, lost in the world and the meaning. Take it all, don't go. Again and again, I lose my senses in you. Now I can see you were made for me. I know from your eyes that our love will last. You're in my blood, sip of fine red wine. I've been waiting for you all my life now. I love you so I could die now. Take it all, don't go. I'm gonna love you the way that I do. I'm giving my heart, if only you knew. I'm gonna love you the way that I do. I'm giving my heart, if only you knew. Dance me on and caught in your undertow, in our ocean of love that feels like a flow.